Welcome back. All right, full day of hockey on a Friday. Starting pretty early today, but I'm able to start the review early, so I don't mind that so much. So we'll go ahead. We'll just jump right in. We'll start off with Tampa Bay and Detroit that woke us all up this morning. Vasilevsky versus Gibson, unless you're on the East Coast. I mean, I guess after Thanksgiving, noon might be a little bit early, right? If you had a really good meal. Anyways, so Vasilevsky versus Gibson, as it was Tampa and Detroit, and 11:28, it's Detroit opening the scoring. Confer roofs one from the right circle. Rasmussen with the assist. 1-0 for the Wings. Then at 17:07, it's a power play marker. We know Tampa Bay is always dangerous on the power play, and it's Radish with a one-timer pass to screen from the point. Kucherov and Gensel with the assists. So at 17:07, it's 1-1. That remains your score after the first. Second period, Tampa starts to take over. 34 seconds in, it's Gonsalves from the slot on a rush. Bjorkstrand and Paul with the assists. I believe Mickey Redmond said, geez, when that one went in. And then at 3:01, it's Yanni Gourde burying his own rebound from the doorstep to make it 3-1. The Wings would answer, however, at 3:13. So this is where the game's kind of crazy. Rasmussen puts one in off the goal line. The assist to JT Confer. So Confer with the goal and an assist to that point and makes it 3-2. Then at 16:09, Yanni Gourde with his second unassisted goal. Who needs assists? It's a one-timer pass to screen, and this is where Mickey is audibly frustrated. Mickey Redmond is my favorite color announcer in the NHL, in part because of how he reacts when Detroit's not playing well. He does not mince words, and they were not playing well. But they would answer at 18:26. Larkin puts one in from the left circle on a rush. Raymond and Edmondson with the assists. The score is 4-3 for Tampa Bay at that point, and that's your score after two. Third period, Tampa would extend the lead just past the halfway mark at 12:37. That was after the Bolts had scored, and that was waved off for goalie interference. So, that's a reprieve for Detroit, but they give it back. Gensel tips a point shot 5-hole. Radish and Kucherov with the assists, so makes it 5-3. The goalie pull happens with roughly 3.5 minutes left. And at 17:13, Brandon Hagel hits the empty net. Radish with the assist. Your final score on this one, 6-3. Rough loss at home for Detroit. Your three stars are Gourde, Radish, and Rasmussen. Shots on net, 11 apiece in the first, 13-9 Detroit in the second, 12-8 Detroit in the third. They outshoot Tampa, 36-28. Power plays Tampa Bay 1-for-1, Detroit 0-for-1. The hits, 20-15 for Detroit. Vasilevsky, 33 saves on 36 shots. Gibson, rough day for him. 22 saves on 27 shots. Kind of a rough day for the Detroit Red Wings. All right, Rangers in Boston. So just as this game was about to go live, of course, I did the news video, and when I saw Pasternak and Zacha were out. My expectations dropped a bit. So Shesterkin versus Korpisalo in 3:28 in. Panarin puts one in from the right circle on a rush. I think that was their second or third shot. Cooley and Soucy with the assists. The Bruins score. It's waved off for goalie interference. And then at 12:01, the Rangers score again. Soucy. It's a one-timer from the left circle. Trocheck and Panarin with the assists. So we have a 2-0 lead. With 41 seconds left, Boston gets themselves a power play. That rolls over into the second period. Score 2-0 for the Rangers. The Rangers do finish the kill. We then get 6 seconds of a 5-on-3 for the New York Rangers in the second period. And it's a 4-minute penalty that is the second penalty called. So Zibanejad scores 7 seconds in. So it had just become a 5-on-4. Zibanejad at 14:22 from Panarin and Fox. It's a one-timer from a sharp angle. And then at 15:07, so during that second 2-minute minor, Zibanejad with a one-timer from the left circle again. Panarin and Fox with the assists. And in the final 15 minutes of that second period, Boston did not have a shot. So it's 4-0 Rangers after two. Third period. At 4:07, Middlestad buries one from the doorstep. Elias Lindholm with the assist. So does get Boston on the board. And then at 5:49, it's a point shot deflected in by Geekie. He gets the goal from Yoki Haru. Elias Lindholm with an assist on that as well. So it becomes 4-2. The goalie pull would happen with 3:58 left. And at 16:36, Lafreniere hits the empty net to make it 5-2. Then at 17:03, Gavrikov makes it 6-2 from Fox and Trocheck, tipping one in from the doorstep. I don't know that I've ever seen Gavrikov tipping one in from the doorstep, but there we are. And it makes the final score an ugly 6-2 in favor of the New York Rangers. They're very good on the road, and like I said, Boston missing two of their top forwards today. And they were going to have a hard time of it anyways. But 3 stars, Panarin, Zibanejad, and Elias Lindholm. Shots on net, 11-7 Rangers in the first, 17-5 Rangers in the second, 9-8 Boston in the third. Final shots, 36-21 for the Rangers. Power plays, Rangers 2 for 3, Boston 0 for 1. The hits, 34-25 for the Rangers. Shesterkin saves 19 out of 21. Korpisalo, rough day for Corpy, 30 saves on 35 shots. All right, next up, the Colorado Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild. So this was the best game so far of today's games. The last 3 games are still going as I'm recording this, but this game was just playoff feel. Wedgwood versus Wallstead, and the highlight reel saves at both ends of the ice. Just absolutely fantastic. Both teams were full out today. And at 14:54, McKinnon buries one from the doorstep to make it 1-0 Colorado. Lehkonen with the assist. So I believe Minnesota gone 12 games in a row where they'd scored first. This is now 2 games in a row where they've allowed the first goal, and it's 1-0 Colorado after 1. But in the second, Minnesota answers. At 12 minutes, it's deflected 5-hole by Kaprizov. It is his 200th career National Hockey League goal. The assist to Boehm and Zuccarello. And Kaprizov enjoyed that so much, he got 201 at 18:03 on a pass from behind the net. Nice pass by Hartman. Trenyan with the other assist. Minnesota with their first lead of the game at 2-1. Third period, I had right here the shot attempts were near even. They showed like the shot attempts, I think it was 38-36 at that, or no, 66-64 at that point for the Colorado Avalanche. Shot attempts, not necessarily shots. But Colorado would tie it at 11:08. Landeskog buries one from the side of the net. I think that's the nicest looking goal I've seen Landeskog score since his return of the ones that have counted. The assist to McKinnon and Makar. So it makes it a 2-2 tie. We're going to overtime. The Avs controlled early. There was a post for Landeskog. The Avs had opportunities, but it ends up going to the shootout. And in the shootout, Matt Boldy with a nice winner. Minnesota breaks the winning streak for the Colorado Avalanche at 10. Colorado, though, 15 games in a row of at least a point. It's a 3-2 shootout victory for Minnesota. Your 3 stars are Kaprizov, Wallstead, and McKinnon. Shots on net, there was a lot of them. 14-12 Colorado in the first, 17-10 Minnesota in the second, 14-8 Colorado in the third, and 3-0 Colorado in the overtime. Final shots, 41-37 Colorado. Both teams went 0 for 1 on the power play. The hits, 25-12 for Minnesota. Wedgwood saved 35 out of 37, had an excellent game, and so did Wallstead, 39 saves on 41 shots. So if this is how these teams are going to play against each other, just bring it on. Can't wait for the next one. All right, next up, the New Jersey Devils and the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres were wearing the goat head. I remember when the goat head jersey meant Buffalo was going to win. Good times. So Allen versus Lyon. We had a fight between Nason and Thompson as well early in the game. The Sabres scored after the whistle, so no goal, and then New Jersey would score. It is at 12:07. Hischier puts one in from the doorstep on a pass from behind the net. Timo Meier making that pass from behind the net. It's 1-0 New Jersey after the first period. Second period, just the one goal to speak of. At 7:45, Gritsuk with a wrister from the slot. The assist to Palat and Mercer makes it 2-0. And despite Buffalo getting a ton of opportunities, Jake Allen was just not having it. And it's 2-0 for New Jersey after 2. Third period, 1:39 in. Dillon adds the insurance goal. He gets that from Brown and Cotter. And then at 5:22, the same 3 players mix it up again. This time it's Cotter from Brown and Dillon. And at 16:49, Gritsuk adds one, because why not? The assist to Palat. So Palat with a multi-point game. Going to go out on a limb and say that's the first time he's done that this season. And it is an ugly, ugly game for the Buffalo Sabres at home. They lose to New Jersey 5-0. The Dalek Magnet's on the board because it's an extermination. Your 3 stars are Allen, Gritsuk, and Cotter. Shots on net favored Buffalo the whole way. 10-9 in the first, 15-8 in the second, 17-6 in the third. Final shots, 42-23 for Buffalo. Power plays, New Jersey 0 for 1, Buffalo 0 for 2. The hits, 24-20 for Buffalo. Allen saved all 42 for the shutout, so the Tony the Tiger Magnet's there because he's great. Lyon, rough night for Lyon. 18 saves on 23 shots. Not that he had any goal support, so you can't blame the goaltender when you get shut out. You can try, but it doesn't really work. And for Buffalo, it's just, it doesn't feel like it's ever going to be their year. They stay at the bottom of the East. I'm looking at the standings, what I've been able to update so far, and it's just, the picture keeps getting worse for the Buffalo Sabres at this point. All right, next up, Calgary and Florida. So, Cooley versus Tarasov, and 54 seconds in on their first shot, Florida scores. It's Rodriguez, net drive goal on a turnover, Reinhart and Boquist with the assists. So 1-0 Florida. They enjoyed that so much. At 2:58, they score on their second shot. It's Sam Bennett, the assist to Greer and Verhaeghe. It was a bad line change by Calgary. It was a turnover, and both of their first two shots are in the net. Florida looks great. It looks like Calgary's having another night like they did in Tampa. But they answer. At 5:35, Jan Kuznetsov with his first NHL goal. Good to see that there. The assist to Blake Coleman. And then at 10:41, another defenseman, Uyghur. Uyghur gets a one-timer pass to screen. Backlund and Zary with the assists. We have a 2-2 tie. We then get, with 42.8 seconds left, we get a 5-on-3 of 2 minutes for Calgary. There were 2 penalties called on the Florida Panthers on the same play. So that runs to the end of the first period. The score stays tied at 2, but it's still a 2-man advantage for Calgary to start the second period. And they would score during the 5-on-3. At 55 seconds, Frost buries a rebound from the doorstep. During the 5-on-3, the assist to Anderson and Kadri. Florida would then kill off the 5-on-4, but they're down 3-2. This is at home against Calgary. The Flames then, they get an insurance goal. At 18:42, Kadri tips in a point shot. Anderson and Farabee with the assists. Calgary's up 4-2, and that's the score after 40 minutes. Third period, Marchand would make things close. At 11:54, he scores from Reinhart and Lundell. So the goalie pull happens with roughly 3 minutes left. With 1:26 left, Florida calls a timeout. Whatever they discussed, doesn't work. At 18:57, Farabee hits the empty net. The assist to Kadri and Sharangovich. Calgary went into Florida and won 5-3 today. Good on them. So your 3 stars in this one, Kadri, Anderson, and Reinhart. Seriously, I was impressed with Calgary today, getting down 2-0 on 2 shots, and then they came back and got the 2 points. Shots on net, 19-14 Florida. So after getting goals on the first 2 shots, they didn't score on their next 17 in that same period. Shots in the second, 10-8 Calgary in the second, and 13-10 Florida in the third. Final shots, 40-34 for Florida. Power plays, 1 for 2 for Calgary, 0 for 2 for Florida. The hits, 30-20 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Cooley, 37 saves on 40 shots. That's how you recover from allowing goals on back-to-back shots to start the game. And Tarasov, 29 saves on 33 shots. So Cooley's a pretty good goaltender, I'm telling you. They should give him more starts. All right, Philadelphia and the New York Islanders. Very back-and-forth game, this one. Ersson versus Riddick, in 8 minutes and 30 seconds in. Forrester scores. The assist on that one to Konechny and Sanheim, and then 20 seconds later, much like in the game before that, goals within seconds of each other for the Flyers. Couturier, it's a turnover, it's in, and it was goals on the second and third shots of the game for the Philadelphia Flyers. And that's your score through the first period. So those 2 goals in 20 seconds, that's the 2-0 lead for the Flyers. Third period at 1:48 on the power play with 3 seconds left in that power play as well, and only their 7th shot of the game. Zegras scores, Emile Andre with the assist, Philadelphia with a 3-0 lead. And the Flyers announcers, that was the feed I had, were like, how are they going to play with the lead? The answer is, not well. At 5:42, Heineman scores from Drouin and Palmieri, so all of a sudden it's 3-1. Then at 8 minutes and 11 seconds, it becomes 3-2. Matthew Schaefer, Duclair and Pullock with the assists, and then late in the period, 19 minutes and 11 seconds on a power play, Shabanov scores from Lee. We have a 3-3 tie. In the third period, there's a 5-minute power play for the Islanders. That gets killed off, and we end up going into overtime. In the overtime, the Islanders controlled the puck early. They had opportunities, but we go to a shootout. And in the shootout, Travis Konechny gets the winner. 4-3 shootout victory for Philadelphia, who I believe have won 8 shootouts in a row. Not just this year, obviously, but last year, too. They're really good in shootouts. No idea what it is with Ersson in shootouts. 3 stars, Zegras, Schaefer, and Couturier. Shots on net, 6-3 Islanders in the first. So Philadelphia didn't have another shot the rest of that period after that goal by Couturier. 13-12 Islanders in the second, 9-5 Islanders in the third, and 3-1 in the overtime. They outshot Philadelphia, 31-21. Power plays, 1 for 2 for Philly, 1 for 5 for the Islanders. The hits, 20-17 for Philly. Ersson saves 28 out of 31, and at the other end, Riddick saves 18 out of 21. All right, and I will be back to review the second board. That clock's about to jump. Told you, magic. All right, so moving on to Ottawa and St. Louis as we get into board number 2 here. Maryland versus Bennington. During that first period, there were 2 power plays for the Blues, 1 power play for the Senators. Both defenses did a very good job, limited the opportunities for the opposition. We have no score after 1. Second period, everything gets punchy at 39 seconds. The Sens emerge with a power play from that. That's killed off. Then at 7:59, it's the Blues opening the scoring. Sundqvist. He gets a goal from Joseph and Walker. That lead lasts until 10 minutes and 11 seconds in. Pinto puts a rebound around Bennington. It was a nice play by Pinto. The assist to Matt and Paolo and Amadio. So that makes it 1-1. Then at 18:26, the Sens get their first lead of the game. Zetterlund scores from Sanderson and Tkachuk to make it 2-1 in favor of Ottawa. And that's your score after 2 periods of play. So we go to the third period. In the third period at 2:01, the Blues tie it. Kyrou from Neighbours and Thomas. And then the Blues would get the lead not long after at 5:33. Buchnevich, who's been waiting for a goal, he gets this from Schenn and Broberg. Gives the 3-2 lead to the St. Louis Blues. And then a little less than 2 minutes later, it's an unassisted goal by Perron at 7:31 to tie the game again at 3. And it looks like this one's staying pretty close until 9:19. St. Louis gets their lead back. Kessel buries a rebound from the doorstep. Holloway and Suter with the assists. Lots of time left. The goalie pull happens with roughly 3 minutes left. With 1:10 left, the Sens call a timeout. Whatever they discussed does not work. St. Louis wins this one at home 4-3 over the Ottawa Senators. Your 3 stars are Buchnevich, Schenn, and Pinto. Shots on net, 7-5 St. Louis in the first, 11-9 St. Louis in the second, 14-13 Ottawa in the third. Final shots, 31-28 for the Blues. Power plays, Ottawa 0 for 1, St. Louis 0 for 3. The hits, 20-17 for Ottawa. Maryland saves 27 out of 31. Bennington, 25 saves on 28 shots. All right, next up, Montreal and Vegas. Montembeault versus Schmid. And I had to make sure I put up here, good start for Montembeault because Montreal did not start well. Montembeault did. And then his teammates reward him. At 14:30, it's Bolduc. Play Bolduc. Play him a lot. The assist to Slafkovsky and Caulfield, it was a cross-crease pass and in. It was only the third shot on net for Montreal, and Vegas had 10 to that point in the game. So, makes it 1-0, and that would be your score after 1. Then early in the second period, Montreal adds 1. Caulfield at 2 minutes and 7 seconds wires it from the left circle. Bolduc and Carrier with the assists. So there he is again. It is a 2-0 lead for Montreal, and they hold that through 2 periods. Even though Vegas outplayed them through those first 40 minutes, Sam Montembeault having the best game he's played all season. In the third period, another insurance goal. At 3:36, Evans goes glove side on a fast break. Texier and Matheson with the assists. And it was a nice pass by Texier to set that up as well. Montreal with a 3-0 lead. But Vegas would answer. At 15:15, Stone just outweights Montembeault and buries it. Beautiful goal by Stone. Marner with the assist there. So they pull the goaltender with roughly 3 minutes left. And at 18:03, it's Slafkovsky hitting the empty net. Nick Suzuki with the assist. A 4-1 win for Montreal in Vegas. Your 3 stars are Caulfield, Montembeault, and Stone. Shots on net favored Vegas the whole way. 11-6 in the first, 11-5 in the second, 9-8 in the third. Final shots 31-19 for Vegas. Power plays, both teams are 0 for 1 tonight. The hits 20-15 for Montreal. Montembeault, great night, 30 saves on 31 shots. Schmid saved 15 out of 18 at the other end. All right, next up, moving along, the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks. And I love to see the Battle of California is relevant again. All 3 California teams being relevant. Kemper versus Husso. It's scoreless through most of the first period. Very quiet until at 17:48, it's a point shot tipped 5-hole by Laferriere. The assist to Moore and Dumoulin. So 1-0 lead for the Kings, and that would be your score after 1 period of play. In the second, it's a power play goal, and it's Anaheim that ties it up. At 9 minutes, it's Kreider tipping in a net feed. Kreider's been a power play guy for his whole career. Why stop now? The assist to Terry and Carlson. So that ties it at 1. But a little over a minute later, at 10:03, Fiala scores from Byfield and Clark. So that makes it 2-1. All of a sudden, we got the goals coming in. And then a little less than a minute later, in fact, 59 seconds later at 11:02, Zellweger scores from Killorn and Carlson. So, yeah, we have a 2-2 tie. Things get pushy and punching with 7:05 left. The Ducks come out of that melee with a power play. They do not score on it. It's 2-2 after 2. Third period, 3:23 in. Turcotte with his first of the season. The assist to Clark and Dumoulin. And then what appears to be an insurance goal at 6:53. Edmondson fires one through Husso. Anderson and Moore with the assists. So, yeah, that's a 4-2 lead for the LA Kings in the third period. But the Ducks would fight their way back into it. At 10:42, Minchikov roofs one from the slot for his first goal of the season. The assist to Seneca and McTavish. Then at 18:29, on a fantastic pass from behind the net by Lacombe, it's Leo Carlson tying it. McTavish with the secondary assist. So at 18:29 of the third period, we have a 4-4 tie. In the overtime, well, the Kings controlled early. There were opportunities both ways, but we go to a shootout. In the shootout, I had to mention this. Troy Terry, Kemper looks to try to poke check him and ends up just dropping his stick, so Terry goes 5-hole. And then McTavish would score what is basically the insurance marker in the shootout, and it is a shootout victory for the Anaheim Ducks, 5-4 today. Your 3 stars, Carlson, Lacombe, and Fiala. Shots on net, 9-7 LA in the first, 11-5 Anaheim in the second, 11-9 LA in the third, 4-2 Anaheim in the overtime. Final shots, 31-27 for the Ducks. Power plays, 0-1 for LA, 1-2 for Anaheim. The hits, 18-14 Anaheim. Kemper, 27 saves on 31 shots. Husso, 23 saves on 27 shots. All right, next up, Vancouver and San Jose, Tolopilo versus Askarov. And Vancouver would get the lead at 4:28. Brock Besser with a wrister from the slot. Garland and Villander with the assist. So there's Villander with another helper. And with Brock Besser's point there, he passes Todd Bertuzzi for sole possession of 10th place on the all-time Canucks scoring list. Then at 9:25, San Jose answers. Smith, it's a cross-crease pass and in on the power play. Wenberg and Celebrini with the assists. 1-1 tie. That's your score after one. Second period, 3:04. Pettersson scores. He gets a goal from Kane and Hronik. We then get 1:17, a minute and 17 seconds of a 5-on-3 for the Sharks. That's too long. They score on it at 14:03. Eklund from Celebrini and Klingberg. And then after the 5-on-4 is done, they score again. At 15:17, Gaudette, former Canuck Gaudette, he gets the goal. Kurashev and Toffoli with the assists. Makes the score 3-2 in favor of San Jose, and that would be your score through 40 minutes. The third period with 4:23 left, the Canucks get a power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. They pull the goaltender to make it a 5-on-4. Everything gets punchy at the end, or it looked like it was the end, and then they put 1.9 back on the clock. The Canucks had a 5-on-3. But does it count as a 5-on-3 when there's 2 seconds left? I guess. San Jose wins this one 3-2. Kind of ugly at the end, but Sharks will take the 2 points. Your 3 stars, Askarov, Eklund, and Gaudette. Shots on net, 12-8 San Jose in the first, 17-7 Vancouver in the second, 9-5 Vancouver in the third. Final shots, 34-24 for the Canucks. Power plays, Vancouver 0-7, San Jose 2-6, so a lot of special teams in this one. The hits, 17-14 Vancouver. Tolopilo, 21 saves on 24 shots. He did as well as he can. Askarov saves 32 out of 34 and stays red hot for the San Jose Sharks. All right, next up, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Washington Capitals. Woll versus Thompson. The Caps score after the whistle. It's reviewed. It's no goal, so the fans weren't happy, but the whistle went. Then at 3:07, on what was their first shot, Toronto scores. Morgan Riley from Ekman Larson and Roy. So Toronto has that 1-0 lead. They would hold that through the first period. We go to the second period, and Toronto scores again at 2:49. It would have been a shorthanded goal if it was 1 second earlier, but it's not. Nice scores from Matthews and Stetcher. That's Stetcher's first point as a Maple Leaf, and it's wired from the slot just as that power play comes to an end. So Toronto has a 2-0 lead in Washington. Washington fight their way back into it. At 13:18, it's a backhand and close by Connor McMichael. The assist to Protas and Wilson. So that makes it 2-1. That would be your score through 2 periods. Now it's just a matter of, can Toronto hold the lead in the third period? No. At 13:16, so after the halfway mark, Beauvillier scores. It's a cross-crease pass on this one. Ovechkin and Strome with the assists. And then at 16:04, Jacob Chychrun, who's having himself a month of November. It's a one-timer from the right circle. Leonard and McMichael with the assists. And suddenly, Washington has a 3-2 lead. And we've got less than 4 minutes left in the game. Goalie pull happens with 1:40 left. 11 seconds later, the Leafs call a timeout. Whatever they discussed does not work. The empty net is hit by Wilson with a little less than 2 seconds left, so at 19:58, and that makes your final score 4-2. A comeback victory for the Capitals and another loss snatched from the jaws of victory by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Your 3 stars, Chychrun, Thompson, and McMichael. Shots on net, 10-5 Washington in the first, 13-5 Washington in the second, 11-8 Washington in the third. Final shots, 34-18 for the Capitals. Power plays, no power plays for Toronto, and 0-2 for Washington. The hits, 28-17 for Toronto. Woll did his best, 30 saves on 33 shots. He played well. Thompson saved 16 out of 18 at the other end. Toronto just didn't have enough shots. They didn't apply enough pressure. Happens. All right. The last game on this board, and then you're going to see that clock jump ahead again, is the Winnipeg Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes. Milic making his NHL debut. I thought he played well as I mean, it's in Carolina, right? And he was against Bussy at the other end. Carolina would open the scoring late in the first period at 16:06. It's Seth Jarvis. Now, I was watching the TSN feed. I don't know if the ISO cam was on him for the Carolina feed or not. Gostisbehere and Aho with the assist. So that's your only goal in the first period. It's a 1-0 lead for Carolina. And again, I thought Milic played pretty well. He made 9 saves in that first period. Second period, the Jets only had 7 shots halfway through this game. I don't know what's really wrong with the Jets, but there's something really wrong with the Jets. They would tie it though at 10:41. Scheifele wires one on a rush. Velarde with the assist. So despite the fact that was only their 8th shot of the game, they get the goal. They have it tied at 1, and they would keep it tied at 1 through 2 periods. Well, Milic did. 19 saves on 20 shots to that point. In the third period, it stays tied until just past the halfway mark, and at 11:52, Martinook, it's a wrister pass to screen in front of the net. The assist to Jankowski, I should say, and Gostisbehere. So that makes it 2-1. And then at 12:39, it's Jarvis. It's a wrister from the slot by Jarvis. The assist to Miller and Svechnikov. They can't allow those shots from that close, and just give them that look at the net. So the goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left, and at 18:56, Jarvis makes the Hats rain down with his hat trick goal. The assist to Svechnikov, so it's 4-1. And then in the final minute in 19:37, Nikishin scores to make it 5-1. The assist to Robida and Robinson. So Carolina ends up winning this one 5-1. And like I said, I feel bad for Milic. He played well until the dam burst. Your 3 stars are Jarvis, Bussy, and Martinook. Shots on net, Winnipeg's in trouble. 10-5 in the first, 10-5 in the second, 15-3 in the third. Every period dominated by Carolina. The final shots, 35-13. So when I heard Kevin Sawyer saying, I feel like the Jets deserve better, I actually said out loud, I don't know if they do. They don't have any shots. He kept talking about the effort, and I'm like, they're not getting shots. So yeah. Anyways, power plays 0-2 for Winnipeg, 0-4 for Carolina. The hits 32-13 for Winnipeg because they never had the puck. Milic saves 30 out of 34. He deserves a medal for that. Bussy wasn't busy. 12 saves on 13 shots, but he was the second star behind Jarvis and just in front of Martinook, who was the third star. All right, the clock's going to jump again, and we will review the rest of the games in a moment. Okay, so resuming with Pittsburgh and Columbus here. Jari versus Greaves in this one. And at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, the Pittsburgh Penguins would open the scoring. Sidney Crosby, who has had his share of goals against Columbus in his career, he scores from Letang. And it's a net feed that's tipped in, 1-0 for Pittsburgh. And it stays that way until 13:40 into the game, where Monahan buries a rebound to make it a 1-1 tie. The assists, Brendan Smith, his first point as a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets, as well as Damon Severson. So we have a 1-1 tie. That would be your score after 1. Second period, 3 minutes and 51 seconds in during a Pittsburgh power play, Columbus scores, and it's Brendan Gaunce. He's still going. He buries it via a 2-on-1 rush, Wood and Werenski with the assist. So nice to see Gaunce getting a goal. This is one of those things. My favorite players are usually the guys who just stick around forever, and even if they're not top 6 forwards, not making tons of money, they're still playing for the love of the game. So to me, Gaunce qualifies. And then in the closing seconds, a goal that could be seen as kind of crippling in that it's 1956. Werenski scores from Coyle, makes it 3-1 for Columbus after 2. Blue Jackets fans pretty loud and pretty happy. But early in the third period, 13 seconds in, Brian Rust scores from Eric Carlson. So all of a sudden it's a 3-2 lead. And then at 8 minutes and 28 seconds, Crosby roofs one from in close on a fast break. He played the bounce off the boards perfectly. No chance for Greaves there. Novak and Wotherspoon with the assists. We have ourselves a 3-3 tie. And with that goal, he ties Andrechuk for 15th on the all-time goal-scoring list in the National Hockey League. Not too shabby. I think that Crosby kid's going to go to the Hall of Fame. So we go to overtime because there was some overtime today. And Columbus controls early. They don't get a shot out of it. And then at 59 seconds in, Letang roofs one from the inner slot to get the game winner. He has scored his share of goals against Columbus in his career. Novak and Malkin with the assists. So Pittsburgh wins this one in overtime 4-3 after trailing 3-1 going into the third period. Your three stars, Crosby, Letang, and Werenski. Shots on net, both teams had 8 in the first period. 13-7 for Columbus in the second. Both teams had 8 in the third. And Pittsburgh had the only shot of overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots, 28-24 for the Blue Jackets. Power plays. Both teams go 0 for 2. The hits 18-16 for Pittsburgh. Jarry saves 26 out of 29, and Greaves saves 20 out of 24. All right, moving along. The Nashville Predators and the Chicago Blackhawks. Saros versus Soderblom. The black thirds being worn by Chicago tonight. There was a 4-minute power play for the Hawks. That's killed off. And shortly after it's done, Chicago does open the scoring. It's Donato putting one past a screen. Rinzel and Burakovsky with the assists at 19:09. 1-0 Chicago, and that would be your score after the first. In the second, however, score changes at 1:46. Wood goes glove side on a rush to tie the game. Haig with the assist. And then at 7:18, Steven Stamkos seems to be trying to bring up his trade value. He scores from Blankenberg and Svechkov. Everything gets punchy with 6:35 left. The Hawks emerge with a power play, and they score on it at 15-14. Green puts one in from the doorstep under the bar. Moore and Burakovsky with the assists. It is a 2-2 tie. But Nashville would answer at 16:27. Evangelista puts one 5-hole from the right circle. Stamkos and O'Reilly with the assists. It's a 3-2 lead for Nashville, and that's your score after two. In the third, 7:15 in, another name that's been on the rumor mill, in the rumor mill as to being on the move, is Ryan O'Reilly, and he gets a goal to make it 4-2. Evangelista and Perbix with the assists. Chicago would answer. They had some good shifts leading up to this. At 10:28, Teravainen just catches Saros out of the net, puts it in. Kaiser and Nazar with the assists to make it 4-3. With 3:29 left, the Preds get a power play, so that takes 2 minutes off the clock. They don't score on it, but it leaves you with very little time left. The goalie pull happens with 50 seconds left. Chicago is not able to manage the tying goal, and so it's a 4-3 win for Nashville on the road. Your three stars, Stamkos, O'Reilly, and Evangelista. Shots on net, 11-10 Chicago in the first, 11-6 for Nashville in the second, 10-8 Chicago in the third. Final shots, 29-27 for Nashville. Power plays, Nashville 0 for 2, Chicago 1 for 4. The hits, 21-15 for Nashville. Saros, 24 saves on 27 shots. Soderblom saves 25 out of 29. All right, and the last game of the night, Utah and Dallas. And this is why, I feel great that I have all these Dallas magnets of the old logo, because it's the new logo. I think Dallas should change to it. I do. It was a gorgeous jersey. A lot of people in attendance wearing it. It was not released on the NHL shop store, so I couldn't grab one. But Vanacek versus Ottinger, the black thirds being worn by Dallas. However, early on, it looked like they benefited Utah. 57 seconds in, Cooley puts one in an open net via 2-on-1 rush. It was the first shot of the game, and it's in the net. Gunther and Yamamoto with the assists. And then, not long after the halfway mark of the period, at 12:17, Rooney gets his first goal as a member of the Utah Mammoth. He goes glove side from the slot. Marino and Carcone with the assists. So Utah had 2-0. Now, we get a 4-minute power play for Dallas with 2:41 left. Utah's penalty kill's been fantastic in November, but it gets dented today by the Dallas Stars. At 17:38, Rope Hintz goes 5-hole. From the point, it goes in off a Utah defenseman's stick as well. So Hintz from Rantanen and Heiskanen, and then Utah kills the other 2 minutes. So it's 2-1 for Utah at that point, and that is your score through 20 minutes. Then in the second period at 8:16, Jamie Benn gets goal number 401. See, all he needed was that 400th goal. Now he gets 401. the assist to Petrovic. So the captain makes it 2-2. And then a minute and 2 seconds later, Robertson buries his own rebound to start a new goal-scoring streak. Capo, Bianco, and Hrickovian with the assists at 9:18. And we have ourselves Dallas ahead 3-2. But Utah would answer at 16-14. McBain buries one in close off a rush. Krause and Marino with the assists. So all of a sudden it's a 3-3 tie. But then we get a 2-minute 5-on-3 for Dallas. As great as Utah's penalty kill's been, that's just, you can't do that. And at 18:33, who else? Wyatt Johnston. He roofs one from the side of the net during the 5-on-3. Rantanen and Heiskanen with the assists. Now, Utah did kill off the 5-on-4 on the other side, but damage is done. Dallas is up 4-3. In the third period, I thought it was a relatively quiet third period, pretty controlled. The goalie pull would take place with a minute and 45 seconds left. Utah just could not manage that chance they needed to tie the game, and Dallas wins this one 4-3. The 3 stars, I think it's great that Clayton Keller was named the first star. I'm impressed that he came out and played this game at all after the passing. I believe his father passed away. So he had a decent game too, and I know that has to be tough. But some people work through grief, and that's, you know, that's admirable. So Keller was the first star, Johnston and Rantanen the second and third stars in the game. Shots on net, 11-8 Dallas in the first, 13-12 Utah in the second, 8-5 Utah in the third. Final shots 29-28 for the Mammoth. Power plays, Utah 0-2, Dallas 2-5. The hits 22-19 for Utah. Vanacek saves 24 out of 28. Ottinger saves 27 out of 30. All right, let's see what this did to the standings. Okay, so with the 1 point today, Colorado now 17-1-6, 40 points in 24 games for them. Dallas pulls within 4 points, but they've played one more game. So they're 16-5-4, 36 points in 25 games. With the 2 points, Minnesota 14-7-4, 32 points in 25 games for them. And they're still third in the division, obviously. The Pacific, well, Anaheim, 2-point lead now, 15-8-1, 31 points in 24 games. The Kings are second, 11-6-7, 29 points in 24 games. So that was a big game for Anaheim to get that win. Seattle, 11-6-6, so 28 points in 23 games. And Vegas is now the number one wild card, 10-6-8, 28 points in 24 games. The Utah Mammoth, 12-10-3, 27 points in 25 games, are the number 2 wild card in the West. Just below the playoff line, San Jose returns. 12-10-3, same record as Utah, just behind on the tiebreaker, 27 points in 25 games. Chicago, costly loss for them tonight, 10-9-5, 25 points in 24 games. The Oilers didn't play, still 10-10-5, 25 points in 25 games. Winnipeg's really in trouble. I said that the last time. I'm saying it again here. 12-11, 24 points in 23 games. The St. Louis Blues now end 8-10-7, 23 points in 25 games. They pass Vancouver, who are 10-13-2, 22 points in 25 games. Calgary 9-14-3, 19 points in 26 games. Don't look now, they're only 3 points behind the Canucks. And Nashville is only 2 points behind the Canucks at 8-12-4, 20 points in 24 games. Which means that number is wrong. They're only 1 point behind the Canucks. Bad hockey guy. Man. Even just the math. Yeah, Vancouver's very close to the bottom in the West. Interesting. Fascinating even. All right. Moving along, the Atlantic. Tampa Bay leads the way. 15-7-2, 32 points in 24 games. They now have a 3-point lead over Montreal, is back in second place. 13-7-3, 29 points in 23 games. The power rankings last week, I was told, you're completely wrong. Montreal's flaming out. What are you talking about? And I said, I think Montreal could turn it around. Ta-da! Ottawa, 12-8-4, 28 points in 24 games. This is why I watch every game. This is why I try to watch every single hockey game. But yeah, so 28 points in 24 games. Ottawa's still third, and means in the first round you'd get Montreal and Ottawa if the playoffs started today. The Metro is led by New Jersey, 16-7-1, 33 points in 24 games. Carolina, 15-7-2, 32 points in 24 games. Washington third, 14-9-2, 30 points in 25 games. This is a pretty solid top 3 right now in the Metro Division. Pittsburgh moves back into the number 1 wildcard spot, 12-6-5, 29 points in 23 games. And there's Philly, 13-7-3, the number 2 wildcard, 29 points in 23 games for them as well. Just below the playoff line, the Islanders, 13-9-3, 29 points in 25 games. The Rangers, 13-11-2, 28 points in 26 games for them. Boston, now well below the playoff line in terms of the number of teams they're behind. But still tied for third place. 14-12, 28 points in 26 games. Detroit is fading. 13-11-1, 27 points in 25 games. Columbus 11-9-5, 27 points in 25 games. So losing that 2-goal lead against Pittsburgh really hurt them. Florida 12-11-1 with the loss to Calgary today, 25 points in 24 games. Toronto back below NHL 500, 10-11-3, 23 points in 24 games. Buffalo 9-11-4, 22 points in 24 games for them. They are last in the East. And it is very interesting to see how these standings continue to evolve. And it's going to be very interesting from here. There are 11 games tomorrow, so we're going to see some movement tomorrow as well. And then, of course, the power rankings will follow that. I was updating the power rankings during the day. And so I'm looking forward to tomorrow night when I can reveal them again and find out where I'm wrong. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It is greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.